Hello.
Hello.
Yo. Okay. Last day. Yes. Sweet. Let's see here. Sweet. Bam. Resume recording. Okay. So yesterday we had a look at creating and constructing scatter plots, but now we have to interpret them. Okay. We have to understand what's going on. We have to talk about if there's any sort of relationship between the two. So definitely good things to consider as well. Okay. Just bear with me for a second here. Coming in. Okay. But I'll update you, Teresa, as well. Cute. All right. Sweet. So let's get on with this. We've got interpretation. So how to interpret a scatter plot. Now you can have a look here at the couple of diagrams, right? Now the thing is, when you look at something and you compare, the human mind is wired to do two things: build a pattern and basically get used to seeing things. We like to automate processes because our brain, when we look at a new piece of information, we consume a lot of energy to understand what's going on. But just skimming your eyes over this, this is why our brain is attracted to certain things that has a certain order or certain pattern. Okay. So in terms of aesthetically pleasing, looking at this here, it's all over the place. But as soon as you look over here, you can see there's some sort of pattern. So your brain is designed to recognize those kind of patterns there. You can also have a look here. There's some sort of pattern going on, and there's another sort of pattern going on here as well. Now, each of these patterns here, we can give a name to it. This one here doesn't have a pattern as well. Doesn't have a pattern. So we say that it's randomly scattered. You can see here. There are a few terms that are given. So what I'm going to do, I'm probably just going to copy and paste this whole page on. So in our notes, we can just annotate it. So we call this one here a randomly scattered. And we start to talk about relationships between the vertical and the horizontal. Remember EV for explanatory variable and RV, because we've got the vertical line and we've got the horizontal line there on the E. Okay. Now we say two things about this. We describe its shape. So this one here is randomly scattered. And then we say something about the relationship between these two. Are they associated? So when we talk about association, we're talking about a relationship between the two. In this case here, there's no pattern. You can't see a pattern. So we say that there's no association. And this kind of analysis here is really important for you to understand the terminology and how to describe these ideas for next year. Okay. It's going to set you up well for next year. If you already know all of this, then next year you're going to step into 3, 4 further, and you're already going to see all these words. You're going to be coming across these exact same words again. Okay. I'm just going to mark you present, Floss. Thank you. Bam. All right. You can see that down here, there are some patterns, and here as well. Ooh, more people. We call this one here, this pattern here, is called a linear pattern. And the second thing as well is that we can say that there is a positive relationship. There's two things, yeah? So if we want to summarize this, what we can say is that it's a positive linear association. Okay? So you see this mashing of ideas, we're putting them together. Now, we already know why this is a positive relationship, because as we go to the right, we are going up, okay? So that means that this is a positive relationship here, okay? The next idea here, if we break it down, you can see that it's non-linear. The shape of it here, it's non-linear, okay? And if you want to describe it more clearly, you can say it's a parabolic shape. Okay, it follows a parabola. All good for us. We can say it's non-linear, and it's a negative, because as you go further to the right, you go down. Okay. Now, the thing about this here is that we don't have to worry about these ones too much. We don't have to worry about, we just say it's linear or non-linear. Our main focus will be on these ones here in year 12. Okay, so, and the top one as well. So you need to be able to identify these things here. Actually, I believe in year 12, you will also be doing this one here as well. But for the time being, these ones that I've highlighted are going to be somewhat of a focus. Now, if you have a look at this last one here, you can see that it's going downwards. So the further you're going to the right, the further down you're going. Okay, it seems like almost everyone is here today. Basically everyone. So let me just update the role. Yusuf, you're marked present. Adele, you're also marked present. Just missing Gordo. All good. So we can say that here is a linear, because you can see that it follows a line. The pattern follows a line. And it's a negative because it's going down. So if we want to summarize this in a statement, we can say it's a negative linear association. When you associate, when you have an association, you're relating two things together. Okay, so it's just understanding the pattern at the moment. Nothing new, nothing fancy. Now, I've mentioned two things so far. Okay, I've mentioned two things so far. However, I have not mentioned the strength. So you can see here, we've got direction and form, but I have not mentioned the strength yet. And we'll start to look at this idea of strength very soon. There's going to be a breakdown in the following sections. There's going to be a breakdown of the form, the direction, the form, and also the strength as well. when you put all these ideas together, it's going to give you a lot to say. It's going to allow you to say a lot about these graphs. Okay. And this one as well. I just want to transfer it across. So with the direction, we've already talked about it. Okay. Positive or negative. Direction can be positive or negative. You just have to be able to recognize and choose between the two. So for each of these here, oh, sorry, not just positive and negative, you also have no association as well, which is random, okay? If there's no direction, we just say randomly scattered. So I'll add that option in as well. Oops. So yesterday when you were creating those scatter plots, you could see that there was something going on. So today we're actually just looking deeper into it and to notice patterns. Again, I'll just draw this in. You're going up as you go to the right. That means that it's a positive relationship. If you're going down as you go to the right, it's negative. And in this case, this is randomly scattered. That's why they call it a scatter plot. It's all over the place. Sometimes it can be ordered, sometimes it might not be ordered. See, the scatter here shows a pattern, so that's somewhat ordered. So direction of an association, okay? We say three things. Now they said no association instead of randomly scattered. I think that, I think you should put that in instead. Sorry, I'm just gonna make a readjustment here. No association. Oop. All right. That's the first point down. Straightforward. Now, when we talk about the form, we have linear and non-linear. There's only two. There's only two ideas. So for form, our focus is on linear, or if it's non-linear. So basically, is it a straight line or is it not a straight line? That's all you have to say. So you saw me do the breakdown before. Now we're just going into detail of each topic. Okay. This one here, you can see it's a straight line. So we say that it's linear. Whereas this one here, you can see it following a curve. We don't have to, it's still following a pattern. So, however, it's not a straight line. So we say it's non-linear. Okay. So that talks about the form. That's a little summary there. The last thing we have, so you can have a look here just as an example. You can see some sort of a line here. So you can say it's linear. If I also ask for the direction, what would you say? So I know the form is linear. What about the direction? Yes. So positive. Okay. Got one more example over here. Now, in this case here, start off with the form. Is it positive? Is it linear or non-linear?
Non-linear.
Non-linear, because it's not following a straight line. And that's it. Okay. So you can write a little summary statement there by writing the association is linear, the association is non-linear, but I'm happy for you to just do dot points for now, okay? When you get into year 12, you want to write, or when we start doing the exercises and it says describe those three elements, including the strength that we're coming up to here, you would write the full statement out and include all three pieces of information. You did a bit of this in year 10? Okay, if you did a bit of this in year 10, then great, you're seeing it again. Now, this should be your second time seeing it if you paid attention last year. Or it should be somewhere in your subconscious anyway. All right, so when we look at the strength of an association, we see how tightly those points are put together. If it's tightly packed, then it's really strong, okay? But if it's more scattered about, then it's a bit weaker, okay? So we have strong, moderate, and weak. Now you can see here's examples for strong, okay? They're very tightly packed together. The next one is moderate. So you can see it's a bit more scattered. It's still following a pattern, but it's more spread out. This one's also spread out and this one's also spread out. So you can see like just different examples. This is non-linear here. This is a linear, but it's negative. It's going downwards. This is linear, but it's going positive. It's going upwards. So I know I'm repeating myself a lot here, but with each diagram that you see, I just want you to create and continue to hear those keywords so you get used to it. It's that exposure that I want you to be to have. Now, with a weak association, if you compare it to a moderate association, you can see it's even more spread apart. However, this almost looks like it's randomly scattered, yeah? But if it was randomly scattered, I'd see more points over here and more points up here as well. So you can see it's a very weak association. Now, we can't just do this by eye, okay? I mean, at first, they want you to do it by eye. Now you can see the strength of this one here as well. You can see, because this is randomly scattered, there's no association. So it's not weak. There's no sort of direction. So if you compare these two here. Okay, so strength comes in 3 sizes. Oh my goodness. Did I just spell strength like that? Yep.
Will there be a lot of those no association thing scatterplots?
They might throw you one on you, but most of the time when they test you, there's some sort of association, especially in year 12. But always good to keep an eye out for it. In fact, in year 12, there's a scale for this, and we're going to go to something, if we get to it, we're going to look at something called the R value, which is the correlation coefficient. And this is strong, moderate, weak. I've got one more option, no association as well. 1, 2, 3. So this here should give you an idea about the 3 main things that we've covered so far. I'm going to copy each of these ideas and I'm going to paste it at the bottom so you can see a bit of a summary here. Delete. Bam. Copy. And this will help you describe relationships within a Oh no, I shouldn't have done that. Should have copied it. So basically, this is a summary of exercise 7C. However, I don't want you to remember the exercise number. I want you to focus on understanding the topic, okay? And that's interpreting scatter plots. Remember, this is bivariate data, so you're looking at two axes and you're seeing how they relate to each other. Okie dokie. So far, can you just give me a verdict, thumbs up or thumbs down? Because I've just done a really big rant. Okay, cool. Awesome. Arafat, Grace, false, Buddha, yes or no? Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll get to some examples here so you can start identifying. Now let's have a look at question 1 here. It says identifying and describing associations. For each of the following pairs, indicate whether you expect an association to exist or whether you expect the association to be positive or negative if it exists. So when you look at two ideas, this question here is saying, do you think these two things are related? And if so, would it be a positive? Would it go up? Or would it go down? Okay. So for each of these, I want you to have a discussion, open room, open floor. I want each person to have a go. Matt, if you have a go, then pause. So you can pause afterwards so you can give other people a chance to talk.
You want me to type
Otherwise,
it,
I'm
or
going to be picking. What's that?
you want me to type it, or
You can just say, I'd rather you unmute. So if
Alright.
you guys can unmute.
I mean, A
take,
would most likely be positive.
so
would be
first of
positive.
all, is there an
linear.
association?
Yes.
Yep. Fitness level and amount of daily exercise. Sounds good?
Yep.
Yep. So there will be an association. And is it linear? Do we know that it's going to be going straight up? Because it could be going like this as well.
Oh, we couldn't know.
Right. So notice here, it's only asking if it's positive or negative.
Oh, then it would probably be positive.
Mm-hmm.
Because it says daily exercise and fitness. Yeah.
Okay, so our answer there is a positive association.
The daily exercise would be the explanatory variable.
Yep. So I would put that as your EV. And if you want to just go a bit deeper into that topic there, because how much you exercise explains what your fitness level will be. Okay.
Yeah.
E stands for explanatory variable. Okay. I'll hand the floor to someone else. Foot length and height. Do you reckon they're associated?
Of course, you can answer this.
What? Go forth.
She's sleep.
Uma? Yeah, you can go.
There is an association and it's positively associated.
Right.
Positive
so you're
association.
Saying, has anyone seen The Hobbit?
I know of it.
Yeah. Well, you got really short people with big feet, though. So, yeah, positive because your foot length grows as you grow. Yeah. So it depends on what you imagine the world to be. That's the hobbits, right? So yeah, generally speaking, if you're taller, then you'll have a longer foot. Well, do you think foot length dictates height, or do you reckon the height will determine how long your foot will be?
Generally, height dictates your foot length.
Height determines the foot length. So you're saying that this is your explanatory variable?
Generally,
Yeah.
yeah.
Look, at this point, it's up to speculation. So we're not too sure which one explains which one. So when we do, the question will tell us. Okay. Sorry, guys, it's just really windy here at the moment. I'm just looking outside and the trees are going crazy. So we could try to focus on doing your explanatory variable and your response variable, but that's not too important for this one here. We're just going to assume that there's a positive association as well for this one. So it's good for discussion. And look, some people might have different answers for it. It's just the way that you think about the world around you. Your comfort level and the temperature above 30 degrees Celsius. Look, do you reckon there's some sort of association here?
Saying the specific temperature is too like specific. If it just said temperature and comfort level, maybe would have association.
Well, what do you think will happen if it gradually gets hotter? So for this
The
one here,
individual
we
will
can,
get less comfortable.
right, less comfortable. So key word there, you said less, yeah? So you're already saying that there's an association between the two.
Yep.
Is it positive or is it negative?
Negative.
Negative, because you're getting less comfortable. So we can say that there's a negative association. Okay. And we can analyze that by saying, as the temperature rises, you become less comfortable. Okay. Let's think about this one here. Foot length and intelligence. Is there a relationship between the two? If you have small feet, are you smarter? Or if you have small feet, are you... Nope.
December? No.
Is there any association at all?
No.
No. So we say here that, well, there's no evidence here. Yeah, if you look at two ideas and you're like, oh, that doesn't seem like it makes any sense, then we can assume that there is no association between the two. Okay? It's okay. It doesn't always have to fit. The two pieces of jigsaw puzzles that you're looking at, sometimes they fit, sometimes they don't. And that's up to you to make that logical decision. Okay? Time taken to get to school and the distance traveled. So the further you travel, is it more or less time? There is an association, that's correct, Maddie. But is it positive or negative? Positive, because notice the wording here, right? The more you travel, or the further, or we can say the longer the distance, the more time you take. And this idea of more tells us that it's positive. Okay, so this is a positive association. if you have a look back at the idea of the comfort level and the temperature above 30 degrees, this word less here tells us that it's negative. Okay, so it's just about understanding the words and what it's talking about as well. The number of pages in a book and its price. Now you have to think about this. Think about it carefully. Do you reckon there's an association here? Have you seen small books that cost a lot? And have you seen big books that cost like $1 or $2? We might say there's no association, but let's just say that, you know, if there's more pages, then obviously you want to sell it for more, yeah? So let's just say that there's a positive relationship between the two. Or positive association. So that's just brainstorming two ideas. And that's assumption. That's not based on any evidence. So there's the issue right there. You're not basing these judgments upon any evidence. The thing about the world now is that we follow a very structured model of investigation. So say, for example, if you have a question, you throw it out there, and you want to investigate the relationship between two ideas, then what you need to do is you need to gather some evidence. You would most of the time go out and take a survey. Okay? So if you go and take a survey, you're gathering evidence, and this is what you're doing here. You're gathering evidence. So all we do in this section here is just come to understand if it's positive or negative. But let's have a look and we'll go through and describe. It's asking us to do 3 things here. In each case, classify according to its strength, form, and direction. And this idea, this last idea is very important. Note the presence of outliers if there are any. Okay, like say for example, we were talking about foot length and height, yeah? But then what about if we had a hobbit? If you had a long foot, but you're really short. Okay, so that would be an outlier. Okay. Let's have a look at these here.
You need to do standard deviation for that to find the outlier.
That's a really good idea. Now our calculator will eventually do all the heavy lifting, and in terms of that, I believe that there is a way to figure out if you have any outliers. It's called a regression line, and that's something we'll eventually come across. If not this year, then next year on your CAS, because remember, we want to use our CAS to its fullest potential. Okay, so there's 3 things. The order that I would describe it in is strength, direction, and then form. So I'll give you an example for the first one here. This one, I kind of see that there's a relationship, a line going there. And I also see that there's an outlier here as well. Okay. So I'm going to describe this. There's a relationship. I wouldn't say that this is entirely strong. I would say that this is maybe moderate. So it's a moderate. The direction is positive because it's going up, and the form is linear. So it's a moderate, positive, linear association. So we write this as one whole phrase. You put all those ideas together and it strings a phrase that accurately describes what you're looking at. Cool. Thumbs up or thumbs down? I want you to give part B, part C, D, and E and F a go. We will probably go through exercise 7D after the holidays. Although I will recommend you to perhaps have a read over the chapter and try a few questions as well. Look at the examples, but I wouldn't expect it if you were to sit down and do homework. So try to do B, C, D, E, and F. That's the end of the exercise there. We can, once we're done, we can fluff our hands and then off we go. All right. You keep this in your memory for when we come back. Okay, good, Teresa. I can see a couple of people typing to me in the chat, which is great. You know what? I changed my mind. I reckon this year is strong. Maddie, yes, this is going on YouTube, so you can rewatch it again. Oh, Uma. Oh, maybe moderate. Okay. Moderate and strong here. For F, you can see some sort of a pattern here. This one seems a bit scattered, doesn't it, Uma? So would you say that it's strong, or would you say it's moderate? Seems like a couple all over the place. Unless if you call this one an outlier. Yeah. One thing you didn't mention was outliers, yeah?
Yeah, the ones
Okay.
that are scattered would be the outliers, and the ones that are tightly packed would be a strong association.
Yeah. So if you get rid of this one here, then you draw a line through it. Maybe this one here as well. Then that would be somewhat of a strong or moderate. Look, right now we're only eyeballing it, yeah? And we're estimating. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It's up to your interpretation. However, when we get to 7D, that's when we start talking about numbers. You put it in the calculator, and the calculator will tell us if it's strong or if it's moderate. There's numbers to go off. Okay. And hopefully through this, everyone here can start to see that mathematics is evidence-based. We need evidence, where it's really concrete, it's really black or white. At first, it seems grey because you're interpreting, but it gets better. So I'm just having a look through the answers here. I noticed some people are only writing the key words. Make sure you write it as a phrase. So make sure you say association at the end, okay? Don't just say weak, negative, linear, right? Say that it's a weak, negative, linear association. You have to say it as a whole phrase, yeah? Lol. So I'll go through this. Let's say this is strong. It's going down. It's a line. There's an association between the two. no outliers. I wouldn't really call this one here an outlier, because if you look at where we draw the line, there's an even amount on either side that are spaced out. So I'm going to put this here. I'm going to highlight in yellow. So when you come across interpreting these ideas here, you can follow that structure. Maybe I'll rearrange it up here in the notes as well. Oh no, wait, that wasn't the notes, that was the actual textbook. Oopsies. Copy. And paste. Excuse me. Yeah, it's all good. Last one there. Let's say this is a moderate, positive, linear association. And we can identify 2 outliers there. Just doesn't look like it fits, it's a bit too far out, okay? All right, yeah, looking through, I think everyone's given it a decent try. So you're on your way there, okay? Fantastic. So we'll probably put a plug on it for now. And when we come back next term, we will look at this. So you can see this, just to give you a bit of a taste tester, you can see that we look at R values, and we will be using, this here is very, very helpful, okay? Gives you an idea of what R value will tell you what kind of idea it is. And you can see it's ranging from strong negative all the way to strong positive, and with no linear relationship between them as well. Yep, hopefully we get to have a look at applying it further on. you can see we start to find the R value. So we punch in some data and then we find the R value as well, okay? And then we interpret it. So what does this 0.818 mean? So you can definitely have a look ahead to look at the examples, even try a few questions if you want to. So when you go into class next term, you'll be prepared, you'll kind of know what's going on ahead of time, okay? If we have a look at the orientation booklet here, if it's still there. There's an orientation booklet. There it is. So it seems here that next term, we will be doing 7D, 7E, 7F. So you can see we're on schedule now. We're actually on schedule. This is our last lesson for this term. Next term, you'll see that we're doing 7D, E, F, G, and I. We're skipping H, okay? After that, we're going to do a hurdle task or a modeling task, and then we're going to have a SAC on it. Cool. After that, it's exam revision and then exams, and we're done for the year. We're so close to finishing, everyone. So we will be finishing after the week of the 15th of November here. So towards the end of November, we'll be done. It seems that we're skipping 7H here. Yeah, so you can skip it, Michelle. All right. Well, sorry, Michelle, if you've done it, then that's to your detriment. It's a shame that you're a bit smarter now. Nah, you're right. That topic there would be covered in year 12 anyway, so you're ahead of the curve.
Are we still gonna have exams?
Sorry, exams at the end of the year? Yes.
Oh.
What do you think was going to happen?
Because we were in lockdown for so long. I thought they wouldn't let us do exams.
Well, these exams here aren't going to count. Not that it's not going to count. It's to summarize all of your learning for this year. There's another reason why they want to run exams as well. Think of this as practice for next year. You take it from a positive outlook, right? It's actually good for you to kind of train you with exams, because up until last semester, remember at the end of term 2,
yeah,
everyone walked into exams and everyone was like, oh my God, I didn't know I had to sit down for this long. Can you imagine you've never had any exam practice? Can you imagine we skip this exams? And then next year, you sit down for 3 hours for the first time. So it's something that you have to train yourself up to as well. So exams are good. Don't worry about if you pass or fail. Get an idea so that you can train yourself up to, because it really matters at the end of next year. And that's not to say that.
Sorry, if you fail your year 11 exams, you don't fail year 11, right? No.
Arguable.